So today we continue our journey through the letter to the Hebrews. And as you remember, the letter to the Hebrews is kind of written more like a homily to the Hebrews. You can tell that it was supposed to be spoken orally. And today we find the author right after he has given this admonition or this great warning to his community to stay firm in their faith, because they'd experienced a lot of trials, a lot of persecution for their faith as Christians, and he's telling them to maintain firm faith. But he doesn't ever give a warning or an admonition without giving an encouragement. And that's what we hear today. He talks about how God made a promise to Abraham. So he's going all the way back to the book of Genesis, where God made a promise to Abraham that his offspring would multiply and be as numerous as the stars in the sky, but also that he would be the father of many nations and that he would be the light to the nations. That him and his offspring would be the light to the nations, meaning that they would bring the faith to all nations. And what the author to the Hebrews is saying is that that promise is still being fulfilled. He says that God made a promise and he made an oath, he swore an oath, saying that when men swear oaths, when human beings swear oaths, it is a very important thing, it's a sacred thing, saying that it puts an end to all argument, saying, okay, this person can be trusted because they're going to make an oath on this. Because if they swear to something and they're not true to that oath, that's not going to go well for them. So God makes an oath, but he makes an oath swearing by himself because he doesn't have anything else higher to swear by. So our author says that he makes this oath and it's with two immutable things, two unchanging things. So he makes an oath which is unchanging. You can't go back on an oath. And then he swears by himself. God himself, who is unchanging, who is totally faithful and trustworthy. So he wanted to show us how committed he is to this promise, that he is going to bless all nations through the descendants of Abraham, we being the descendants of Abraham. And he says as well that this is the anchor of our souls. This hope in God's promise is the anchor of our souls. It's a beautiful image because we use the image of an anchor all the time in Christianity. It's used for an image of we are firmly rooted in God. As we know, an anchor keeps a boat, firmly rooted where it is in its place. It's not going to be tossed about or taken out to sea because it's anchored. It's got that anchor that is on the ground. It's not going to be moved. Or anchors are also used when rock climbing. Rock climbers will use them to put them on the side of a mountain. And in that way, when they do that, if they fall, they're not going to fall to their death. They're rather going to be held firm by that anchor. So anchors are very important, and they're something that we need in our lives. The anchor of our souls, whether we know it or not, is this promise of God. The promise that he will be faithful to what he has said in the past. He will be faithful to his promises to us, that through Jesus we are being saved as well. So our question today might be, where do we need to be where do we need to be better anchored? Where do we need to be better tethered in our lives? Because there's places where we can feel like we're being tossed about and we forget that we're anchored in God's promise. Wherever that might be today, ask the Lord to help anchor you more firmly, to help you know his promise is assured, that it is forever. What's cool is in the Church of St. Mary, we have above the one window that has the image of Christ's ascension, there's a little medallion at the top that has an anchor in it. And around the anchor is the sea, but also very small, if you look closely, you can see an image of the Eucharist there, saying that that is our anchor. That is our anchor in this world. It's the proof of God's promise, his ongoing assurance of that he's with us in the Eucharist and that he is continuing to save us. He's continuing to make us holy as well. So today, let's be firmly anchored in God and his promises, because when we do that, we have hope that cannot pass away.